Right, Shalom Aleichem, Rabotai, Bruchim Habayim to our Wednesday class. We are in Yalkut Yosef, Tefillah, Shimon Esrei. Today we're going to deal with a few interesting topics regarding the Tefillat Amidah. What happens when distractions occur, all right? There could be a distraction like a bad smell. We're going to see also what if someone is distracted by something that he's holding in his hand. I'm not talking about a siddur. Are you allowed to hold something in your hand, like a wallet, stuff like that? We're going to talk about the minimum you need for a minyan of people that haven't prayed. Do you need all 10 to have not prayed, or is it okay? Let's dive right in, Bezat Hashem. So to begin with, regarding a bad smell, someone now is praying Tefillat Amidah. All of a sudden, for some reason, there's a baby in the stroller in the room also, and the baby did what it did, and now there's a bad smell in the room. We learned the halacha that a bad smell, you cannot pray until the bad smell is removed. We learned that if it's coming from the outside, it's enough that there's no more smell in the room. You could put a perfume. The smell is in the room with the source of it, like a diaper, then we have to remove it out, and until that you can't pray, right? Or now a bus, a garbage truck passed and the window was open and there's a bad smell coming in the middle of Amidah. We learned you're not allowed to continue praying. Or if the guy before you had a little bit too much cholent on Shabbat and he felt comfortable, and I'm saying this as half a joke, but you should know it's a problem. You got to be thoughtful of the people around you. They cannot pray Amidah as long as there's smell in the room. So what do you do? Can I continue? Do I have to stop? So obviously you cannot continue. But after I stopped, let's say it took now a few minutes until the diaper was changed and someone threw it out. I don't know, 3-4 minutes passed now. Do I continue from where I stopped? Or do I go back to the beginning? Anybody have an idea? Steve is giving it a try.
I would say you continue. You can't, it's not Torah that you can say it more than one time. It's like Tefillah, right? So,
all right, beautiful.
I think depends how much time passed.
Oh, we have the machloket of the Italianos. This is what's happening right over here. Very good. So you're both saying true things. I said 3-4 minutes, and Steve said you continue. And then Jalil depends how long, because it's right. If the amount of time was a short amount of time, and that will define what's short in a second, then you continue. But if it's a long, then you don't continue. What is short and what is long? So the answer is, theoretically, were you able to pray the whole Amidah in that time or not? Let's say it takes me to pray Amidah 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes. Anybody, depending on that's usually the range, 4 minutes to 6-7 minutes, depending what minyan. So I had a 5-minute break. I know myself, if I pray for 6 minutes, then 5 minutes is not enough for me to pray the whole Amidah. So that's considered like not a full stop. It was a small stop, and because of it was a small stop, I can continue. Someone else that's used to praying 3 minutes, now he waited 5 minutes till the bad smell went away. For him, there was already a whole loop of Amidah that he could have prayed. Since a whole loop already passed, he has to go back to the beginning. So we're both right. We just have to, we ask the questions to bring out the halakha, so it's remembered better that way. So the time frame is as long as it takes you to pray Amidah. If you pass more than that, you have to go back to the beginning. Now another halakha.
Ziv, I have a question.
Oh.
If there is, let's say, a diaper on the floor next to you, smell diaper, whatever, and nobody's there to move it around, what are you going to do? Like how you have to...
Very good. We're going to touch that a little bit later today, but the idea is that you are not supposed to move during Amidah. Today we're going to touch the halachot, hopefully, of how your feet have to be attached together and you have to pray without moving. Why? Because we'll see. That's the way the angels are. However, if something is distracting you and it's bothering your focus, and obviously this is more than bothering your focus, you can't even pray, then you will be allowed to go and move it, but you have to be careful not to talk. So as long as it has to do with the tefillah, what is the reason are you stopping right now? To chat with your friend? You want to pray. You can't pray. It's considered part of the tefillah because to you, this is what you need. Same thing with going to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom so that I continue praying because halakha is you cannot continue, I need to go to the bathroom. So even though I shouldn't stop, but if I have to go in a way that's, as we learn, depending how long, how much, but also if you lose the time of tefillah, then maybe you're allowed to continue depending on how urgently you need to go. We got into those halachot, but as long as the purpose of it is for the tefillah, then it would be allowed. So later today, maybe we're jumping the gun, but since you already asked, we're going to talk about things that you hold in your hand. So we'll see that there's a difference, even if it's like a valuable thing. Sometimes when you hold a valuable thing while you're praying, you don't have so much kavanah, because you're always going to be thinking, well, this is an expensive wallet. You want to hold on tight to it. You keep on looking at it. It's a jewelry, whatever it is. So they say you shouldn't do that because your kavanah is not going to be great. However, what if it's a very expensive siddur that has leather cover and diamonds on it and you're holding it? No, that's mutar, but it's also expensive. It also has value. Yeah, but it's here to serve me for the tefillah. Whatever's there to serve you is allowed. So by moving that diaper, then going and washing your hands and coming back, you're serving yourself for the tefillah, and that would be allowed. That's a good question. All right. Another halakha that we should know, there is a benefit of praying in a bet knesset, not only in a minyan. Let's say it's Corona time or whatever, and I couldn't go to the minyan in the morning. I didn't want to be around people. And now I have a bet knesset that's empty. Is it better to pray at home? Bet knesset doesn't matter. The answer is go to bet knesset. There's an added value. We're not saying it goes like a minyan, but obviously there's an added value by just physically being in the bet knesset. That's one added value. There's another added value called to pray in the time that other people are praying. In Corona time, if anybody remembers those days, in Corona times, here in Israel, we had a lot of announcements. When is the minyanim in different places? For example, on the radio, they had a usual minyan, where they would, I guess, somehow arrange 10 people to be together. I'm talking about the times that they couldn't get together. We weren't allowed out of the houses. So that when they're praying, there is one minyan happening in, they had these hotels with the people that already got it. So they would place them over there and they would be allowed to pray together because they already have it. So they're contagious to each other, but they already have it. So they would make a minyan at a certain time and they would announce the time of that so that people at home could pray the Amidah while the minyan is praying the Amidah. Because whenever you're praying, if there's Amidah happening while you're praying, you're joining it. Obviously, it's better it's in your city, but the idea is that you are part of that and you're kind of getting a ride on the train that's driving right now. So the question is, if I could choose between one of them, I could stay home right now because on the radio there's a minyan that's saying we're starting now, start your Amidah, I'm gonna join you. Or every day the Bet Knesset and someone's not feeling well, he's praying at home, but he knows the minyan starts at 7 o'clock. He says, I'll pray Amidah at 7 with them. Or would it be better for him to say, no, it's okay, in an hour or so, whatever, I'll be able to go to shul. There won't be a minyan anymore, but at least I'll be praying in Bet Knesset. So what's better? Says the Yalkut Yosef, if you could pray home alone or in Bet Knesset, in Bet Knesset alone or at home in the time that everybody is praying, it is better to pray at home in the time that everybody is praying. But I'm not joining the minyan. It's not considered tefillah b'minyan. It still has a benefit. You're praying at a time where a minyan is taking place, and that's higher than praying in a bet knesset without a time of minyan that's taking place. All right. Now there's a special segula. A person that wakes up to shul. The pasuk goes, the quote is like this: Hamashkim vehama'ariv, meaning he wakes up early and he goes late. Lebet knesset, to shul, zoche le'arichut yamin. He gets a long life. Right? And the Chachamim bring a source to this. There's a pasuk that says, Ashrei shomea li, how fortunate is he who listens to me, lishkod al daltotai, that is diligently coming knocking on my doors day by day, meaning morning and night, ki motza'eh matzah chaim, because he has found life. So from here we learn that by coming knocking on the doors early in the morning, later at night, basically shacharit, then it's a sgula for having a long life. Now what happens, and this may be relevant to some people that have a bet knesset in their home. If there's a bet knesset, first of all, another side halacha. If you have a bet knesset in your city and you don't go to the bet knesset to pray, you're considered a bad neighbor. If you have a bet knesset only in the neighbor city, all right, you're not obligated to go to that bet knesset. But if it's in your city and you're not going, you're considered a bad neighbor. And Chachamim say, gorem galut lebanav. This could cause somebody, chas v'chalil, that his children will go to galut. Galut has a lot of meanings, but basically, deported. Is it a mental deported or physically deported? But it's obviously it's not good to neglect the bet knesset in your city, right? Unless, of course, you already prayed. You prayed at work. You prayed somewhere else. But you have a bet knesset in your city, and you decide to pray at home. you called a bad neighbor. But what happens if I make a minyan in my house? Friday night, I live far away. I told the guys, everybody come to me. We do a minyan, 10 guys. We do that. We do that a lot. Is there a problem with that? So the answer is, if you do that, you have a minyan, and you are not considered a bad neighbor. Even though there's a bet knesset. Yeah, but I made a minyan. So the only question is, do I still get the segula of arichut yamim? Because it says that he who goes early to bet knesset and late at bet knesset, he gets the segula, he gets that value of having long days. The answer is no. You missed that. Meaning on other days that you went to a minyan and shul, you get that. But for this day, having a minyan at home, are you a bad neighbor? No, I'm not a bad neighbor. I didn't neglect shul. I created kind of a shul in my home. But do I get the arichut yamim, the promise of a long life for this day? The answer is no. When can I still get the promise of having a long life while I'm praying at home? As if the bet knesset that I made at home, the minyan that I made at home, I turned it into an actual bet knesset. Some people, they bring a sefer Torah, they bring Aron Kodesh. Few people in our community, they do that. Then their bet knesset already, their home is considered a real bet knesset. Then by praying there, you're not a bad neighbor, and you get the segula of having a long life. All right. Now regarding a minimum of people. So happens a lot, you have events. Last night, Baruch Hashem, in our home over here, we had a nice Shir Torah, a big rabbi came, beautiful. At the end of the event, a couple of guys say, listen, anybody pray Avit? Oh, I prayed, I didn't pray. How many? They said, oh, we started counting. Obviously, we learned, you're not supposed to count people 1, 2, 3, 4. You count in your heart, right? In Pelio, it says, so you count in your heart. You count in your heart, we saw that we have 7 guys that did not pray Amidah. Can we do Avit and we join their Kaddish or no? Well, the answer is yes. There's a minimum requirement. The minimum is 6. Once you have 6 people that have not prayed, the rest can be bystander. Just be there to answer the Amenim with them so that you have 9 people answering the Kaddish and Amenim. Now, interesting question. This is spicy. You have Yalkut Yosef brings up an asir. What is asir? A guy that's locked up, lo alenu, in prison. The guy's in prison, but now it's a holiday. And the prison said, listen, this month, we're giving all you guys a gift. You have 1 day. We allow you to go home to visit, and then you have to come back to the prison. What day should I choose? So he says here, should I wait for Yom Kippur? Should I choose Shabbat Zachor? Let's say they tell me in a few months. Should I choose Shabbat Zachor? Should I choose Purim? Is there a day that is better for me to choose rather than the other days? Anybody want to try? What do you think? Hopefully we should never know this halakha, but it's good to...
I guess Shabbat.
I would think so too. I would think Shabbat, there's a great value to it. Sefer Torah and Shabbat, keeping it properly.
Your wife nida. Your wife, the day they go to the
Oh, nachon. It's also important to do the mitzvah of onav, taking care of your wife. Maybe that would be the right name. But listen to what the Yalkut Yosef says. He says there's a principle that we have to remember. The principle says, mitzvah haba liadcha al tachmitzena. When a mitzvah comes into your hands, don't wait on it. Which means, don't wait even till tomorrow. Today, whenever you can leave, go get the minyan today. How do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? They told you, so they told you. The mitzvah can happen right now. He says, ideally, if it's a day that I read the Sefer Torah, say, okay, tomorrow it's Monday or it's Thursday, I'll take that. But don't even wait for Shabbat. Right away, when you have an opportunity to grab a mitzvah, jump on it with 2 hands. And this is a little bit like the principle that we learned, En ma'avirin ala mitzvot. It's only in a different angle. Well, we had the tefillin and the talit, and we're supposed to put on the talit first, but if we touch the tefillin first, we said that we have to put them on first. Over there, why did we say that? Because En ma'avirin ala mitzvot. The mitzvah came to you, you're not allowed to neglect it and go to the other one. In a way, this is the same halacha in a different direction. When you have an opportunity to grab a mitzvah, don't say, oh, no, I have to do it in 2 days also. Take it right now. You haven't prayed in a minyan in a long time. You haven't heard a kaddish. You're going to wait, go, jump on the mitzvah right away. Now, this is a topic that has a lot of controversy around it. And this is the topic of a person that is mechalel Shabbat b'farhesia. Mechalel Shabbat b'farhesia is a person that doesn't keep Shabbat, but not to himself. Publicly. There's a difference between publicly and to himself. If he doesn't keep it to himself, it means that he still is, it's not a thing that he's proud about. But if he's mechalel Shabbat b'farhesia, if he does it publicly, then already he gets a certain criteria in halakha. So we'll touch that criteria in a second. But I just want you all to know that this definition of someone that does it publicly, what does it mean? Some say, would he do it? Let's say he's driving on Shabbat. Would he drive in front of 10 people? Some want to say that's considered publicly. But this brought a lot of controversy because there's so many people that are far and that do that, and they want to come to Bet Knesset. And if you're going to tell them, that you're considered a Mechalel Shabbat, and we'll see soon that a Mechalel Shabbat Faresia, some say they can't even join the minyan, very strict opinions about this. So the Chachamim say that today it's very hard to say that people that don't keep Shabbat publicly are Mechalel Shabbat B'Faresia, that are under that category. Because back in the day, when everybody was keeping Shabbat, if you had someone that was doing something like that publicly, what would Chachamim say about him? He's going against Hashem. He's doing it on purpose. He's lachis. He's aware of what Shabbat is. And since he's aware of what Shabbat is and he's still doing it, obviously he's a kind of a rebelling. Of course, we can't count him and, come answer our Kaddish. No, we don't take a guy like that. But today they say that most people that don't keep Shabbat, it's not because they have tasted it and they learned about it and they're enjoying it. Yeah, we consider them, the halachic term is tinokot shenishbu. People that, they were never really exposed to Shabbat in the way that people that grew up with it are, and therefore maybe they're not under that category. So this is a big controversy. Some places are more strict. I know in our community, Rabbi Chaim is much more lenient. Because Yalkut Yosef says that can we allow a person to join a minyan if he's Mechalel Shabbat Faresia? Says the Yalkut Yosef, some are lenient about it. I once asked Rabbi Chaim, what happens, because the Yalkut Yosef says, okay, you wanna count him in and you wanna lean on the lenient opinion, okay, but at least don't let him be Chazan. So we asked Rabbi Chaim, are you allowed to be Chazan? Are you allowed to be Chazan? I think we discussed it once. Rabbi Chaim said, listen, the fact of the matter is that our community is not in Israel. We are in a place that is far away. If we're going to push away people from being Chazan, they're going to not want to come to shul at all. They're going to go against. So even though they're not Mechalel Shabbat and they may do it even in a public matter, we are lenient, like the opinion that says that it's not really considered public, and we keep them close to ourselves. But the dry halacha in Eretz Yisrael is that if someone is a public Mechalel Shabbat, then he shouldn't join. Again, what is public? Everybody would agree that if someone says, I don't believe in God, I don't have anything, I'll drive on Shabbat for you, I'll drive in my car in front of the rabbi, I have then we can consider him that. But today, no one is rebelling against the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore that's room for the controversy.
Ziv, we have a 9-minute warning, by the way.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you.
Ziv, it's also for Aliyat Torah, same thing?
I didn't say that. Let's take it differently. We have a minimum of Olim LaTorah, meaning on Shabbat, you're supposed to have the 7 Olim. So if someone went up and he's a Mechalel Shabbat Faresia, the custom is that gently Mosifim. And then at least we have 7 that were Shomer Shabbat. But it's not that he's not allowed to. He can do it, but you want to be Mosif. But again, this is a chumrah to the opinion that he is considered a Mechalel Shabbat Faresia. Some say he's not considered. He's like a baby. Tinok shenishba means a baby that was taken away when he was a baby. And since he was like young at that stage of his life, he never was really exposed to it. Then we have no complaints about it. Okay, I know you're telling me we have, you know what? Okay, we'll leave these up. If we have time, we'll come back to these halachot. It's Yom Kippur, big day. What can we say about this? So I heard this nice idea from a friend of mine called Shai Ben David, and we learned once. And
can I ask a question? I'm so sorry.
B'chavod.
Is there a difference between being chazanut until Ishtabach and then chazanut from Ishtabach after? Or just Musaf or Shabbat?
Okay, so Chazan until Ishtabach, it's not really a Chazan because there's no Kaddish. You're just the one that's reading out loud. You're not Motzi Yedei Chova other people. The problem begins once you start the Kaddish, and especially Amidah, where you have to be Motzi other people, right? You're the representative. If someone is representing others, then you want to put in the front row, like Chachamim say, even on Yom Kippur, on the days that are very important, have someone with this advantage, that advantage. No, but someone he's a Talmid Chacham, but he's not a great Chazan. We want a person that, holding the wheel to represent us better. So when is really the wheel being held? When you're Motzi Yedei Chova other people. But if you're just reading until it's not considered a Chazan. There's no significance to it. Meaning for being Motzi Yedei Chova other people. Was there another question, or did we start talking about him? Okay, let's start. If someone wants to ask, please do. So Yom Kippur, Oh yeah, I started describing that. I heard this on Rosh Hashanah from Shai ben David. He's actually a Mashari guy here from Eretz Israel. He's part of our Shirim Sas. He takes part of it while he's in Israel. And he heard it from Alav Shaked Boadana. Now, why am I saying whom I heard it from? Because we learned in Pirkei Avot that whoever says a rumor from who he heard it from, mevi geula l'olam, brings a geula. So we all want geula. It's always good to mention where you heard your source, where you heard your sources. He says like this: is the teshuvah for Yom Kippurim is a great gift, a wonderful gift that Hashem gave us. Now you're going to say, Ziv, gift? What gift? I have to fast. All day I'm standing on my feet in Beit Knesset. I barely get to rest. Tefillot. I have to confess, Hashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazanu. Say, okay, I do teshuvah. But saying that it's a gift, how is that a gift? It's a lot of work. So he explains like this. If you think about what happens on the day or on the 10 days of where we're in right now, this is what happens. Chachamim say on Rosh Hashanah, it was already decreed. Those that are complete tzaddikim, Hashem calls them out for life. Those that are complete rishayim, Hashem gives them chas v'chalila lo alenu mita. All those that are benoniim, that he doesn't know if he's here or there, he's somewhere in the middle, which most people, that's what they need, everybody. We need to think of ourselves always as those benoniim. Why? Chachamim say, if you think of yourself as a benoni, as a middle person, then by doing teshuvah and upgrading yourself, then you are machriya et hakaf. Then wow, okay, now I added a little bit. Now Hashem is gonna give me life. So every day, not just that, you always have to look at yourself in that situation, so that by doing this mitzvah now, I'm bringing myself closer, and I'm setting the scale in a better way. So in the Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, it says that, the Rambam says also that if you do teshuvah, then what happens? You're machriya et hakaf. Then you are setting the scale in the right way because you are benoni. However, how does that make sense? Now, why am I saying how does that make sense? Because on Rosh Hashanah, the decree was made on what you deserve and what you don't deserve. Now we're already in the year Taf Shin Pei Hey. The next year has begun. Aleph Tishrei is behind us. Elul is gone. If the next year has begun, any teshuvah, any mitzvah, any good deed that I do right now, how is that going to save my life this year? It already belongs to Taf Shin Pei Hey, to the next year's cheshbon, to the next year's calculation. My sin from last year, that was already standing on the scale. Hashem already measured it. So now but it happened last year. How is my tshuva now helping the scale of last year? This is going to help me for next year. But for last year, it's gone. This is the question. And the answer is, this is the gift of the teshuvah. When someone does teshuvah, what happens? He's a time traveler. He goes back in time to last year. But I'm being measured for what I did. No, that's if you do mitzvot. You do mitzvot, we understand. They're counted for this year. But the teshuvah has an added value. Besides doing mitzvah, of teshuvah, which is a mitzvah, you're also traveling back in time. How do you measure it? The Rambam says that if Hashem knows that you really mean that you don't want to do the sin anymore, and in your heart you don't mean to do it, even if later on chas v'chalila something happens and you end up doing it again. But Hashem reads our heart, and if in that moment we're already in Tafshin Pei Hey, we're already in Tishrei, if we say that what we did in Elul or Cheshvan last year, or whatever it is, we regret it and we don't want to do it anymore, it's not a calculation for this year. You travel back in time, and that is cleaned in the past. It's a gift of Hashem, Ishtabach Shemo. So the power of Teshuvah makes us a time traveler. Of course it's a gift. It's an amazing gift because you're able to fix stuff that don't belong anymore, and it's as if retroactively it never happened. So what's the recommendation? What tip can we give to ourselves that while we're entering these days, in the day of Yom Kippur, we want to take a Kabbalah, we want to do something that in Shamayim would set a good thing for us. So of course we mentioned Teshuvah, and everybody needs to do Teshuvah, looking at stuff that we did and say, Hashem, we want to be better. But perhaps a Kabbalah, usually we like to take something upon ourselves. I'm just sharing an idea that, was shared with me, and I think it's a wonderful idea. The pasuk in Ha'azinu says, and Shabbat we read, Ha'azinu Hashamayim v'adabera. And then it has a pasuk that says, El emunah ve'en avel tzadik v'yasharu. Hashem has a justice system that is perfect. He is tzadik and yashar. So how come it says it twice? Yeah, he's a justice system that is perfect, and he's straight, tzaddik and yashar. We understand. No. Let's say there's a guy, let's call him, I don't want to name anyone's name over here. Let's call him Robert, okay? This Robert now, he's a father to a wonderful child, and he helps him with his homework, and the child is dependent on his dad, and he loves him so much. And Robert is also a wonderful husband, and every week he does the supermarket shopping, and he helps his wife, and he carries the bags, and if she needs help with the bag, he helps his wife, and she's my Robert. He's a magician. We love Robert. Robert also has a job, and his boss is obsessed with him because Robert brings him so much parnasa because he knows how to get all the clients to come in. He's a talker. He has gifts and abilities. Well, Robert is really making the parnasa for his boss. Great. Now, one day, this Robert, he couldn't control himself and he took something he stole that doesn't belong to him. So the judge comes and the judge said, Robert, we caught you stealing. We want to put you now in punishment, prison. So, wait, before you give the judgment, what happens now? The little boy says, excuse me, Your Honor, it's true that my father stole, but by punishing him right now, you're not just punishing him. Who's going to do homework with me anymore? I can't do my homework without my father. I hear you. And then the mother comes and says, listen, you want to punish him, we get it, but who's going to help me with the supermarket bags? And who's going to be there when I need him and support me? And the boss comes and says, you want to punish him, I understand, but my worker, my business is going to suffer because you're punishing him. You want to punish him, I understand, you're punishing me. And what does the judge answer back? The judge is going to say, are you kidding me? No one's ever going to sit in prison if I treat the world this way. Judgment, punishment, that's how it works. End the story. That's in Olam Hazeh, but Kadosh Baruch Hu is not like that. When Hashem judges us, the judgment is fully straight. Anything that happens to us, if it's going to hurt somebody else that doesn't deserve it, Hashem says, I can't do it. Because Hashem's mishpat is straight until the last person that it reaches. Anything that reaches you, it was meant to reach you. And if that is the case, I heard this from Rav Eliyahu Mansour. He says, you know what the best recommendation you could tell someone to do for the day of Yom Kippur? Walk into this day and say to Hashem, Hashem, please let me be a person that is a messenger for you, a person that people are depending on me. Make yourself a person that people need you. They need me in the Bet Knesset. They need me at work. My children need me. Whatever it is, the more people, the charity, the chesed, whatever you do that makes you a person that people rely on, and even if chas v'chalila we deserve a penalty, but Hashem is merciful to all those that are dependent on us. So if now He wants to do something to us, but the others don't deserve it, and by punishing us, they won't be able to get what they get from us anymore, Hashem says, I can't. My mishpat is straight. It won't be straight if I punish them and others will suffer. So hopefully you can, that's one direction. Everybody could take their own, but I thought it was an interesting direction to share. All right, Rabotai.
Beautiful.
Mitzvot. Hazak u'baruch. A wonderful Yom Kippur.
Meaningful fast.
Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem.
Thank you so much. Chazal.
חתימה טובה לכולם.
חתימה טובה.